History is a fascinating subject, but it's not immune to mistakes, especially when it comes to early accounts or overzealous interpretations. Some historical inaccuracies are so bizarre they leave us laughing rather than scratching our heads. Here are 10 amusing examples of times history books hilariously missed the mark. 1. The Flat Earth Theory. While ancient civilizations had evidence of a round Earth, medieval history books often perpetuated the belief that sailors could fall off the edge of the world. Despite being debunked by scholars like Pythagoras and later Galileo, this idea lingered in textbooks for centuries, making it a source of chuckles in modern classrooms. 2. Napoleon was short. Many history books describe Napoleon Bonaparte as a short man with a big ego. However, he was actually about 5 feet 6 inches or 5 feet 7 inches, which was average height for his time. The misconception likely arose from differences between French and British measurement systems, but the joke of Napoleon complex stuck. 3. Vikings wore horned helmets. Depictions of Vikings in history books often show them wearing horned helmets, but this is entirely fictional. The image was popularized by 19th century opera costumes, not historical evidence. Archaeologists have confirmed that Viking helmets were practical and horn-free, making this myth hilariously off-base. 4. George Washington and the Cherry Tree. The story of young George Washington confessing to chopping down a cherry tree with the words, "I cannot tell a lie," is pure fabrication. Created by biographer Mason Locke Weems to illustrate Washington's honesty, this tale has fooled generations of students into believing it was fact. 5. Columbus discovered America. For centuries, history books credited Christopher Columbus with discovering America in 1492. This ignores the fact that indigenous peoples had been living there for thousands of years and that Norse explorers like Leif Erikson reached North America centuries earlier. Columbus's discovery is a comically inaccurate simplification. 6. Medieval people thought the moon was made of cheese. While this idea may sound ridiculous today, early history books sometimes included the notion of celestial objects being composed of odd materials. The idea of the moon being made of cheese was likely a folk joke, but it made its way into serious discussions and writings, baffling readers. 7. The time the U.S. Navy tried to fight a tornado with a rocket. In 1954, the U.S. Navy made an attempt to combat a tornado with the help of rockets. The idea was to launch a series of rockets into the storm to try and disrupt its rotation. The experiment, as one might expect, was a complete failure, with the tornado carrying on its destructive path. Instead of a scientific breakthrough, the event became a comical moment of misjudgment, demonstrating that rockets aren't the solution to every problem. 8. Marie Antoinette said, "Let them eat cake." Marie Antoinette's infamous line, "Let them eat cake," was never uttered by the French queen. The quote likely came from a misattributed anecdote or propaganda. Yet, history books perpetuated this myth for years, unfairly cementing her reputation as out of touch and heartless. 9. Einstein failed math. A popular myth repeated in textbooks is that Albert Einstein failed math as a child. This is hilariously untrue. Einstein excelled in mathematics and was a prodigy. The myth likely arose from a misunderstanding of how grading systems were explained during his youth. 10. The Trojan Horse as literal fact. The story of the Trojan horse, where Greek soldiers hid inside a wooden horse to infiltrate Troy, is widely regarded as a myth. However, some history books presented it as a real event. Modern historians believe it's more likely symbolic or a creative literary invention, making its literal portrayal a funny misstep. History isn't always as straightforward as we'd like it to be. These hilarious errors remind us that even the experts can get it wrong, sometimes in the most amusing ways possible. They also highlight the importance of critical thinking and revisiting historical facts as new evidence emerges.